For more, let's welcome in the Director of Budget Policy for the Heritage Foundation, Richard Stern, also with us, the President of Strellmark, which is a business development consulting company, Hillary Fordwich. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Richard, talk to me about the markets. How is that possible? People sitting at home, we could say, like, how's this possible that he hasn't even stepped foot and already the economy is improving?
It's the magic of Maganomics. So I think the most important thing to know about the stock market is it is a consensus tool to identify how much value there is in companies going forward. So if you have a socialist take office, for example, who's promising to regulate businesses to death, the stock market's going to crash because the presence of that new president means that there's much less economic growth that can be had going forward. On the flip side, somebody like Trump is elected, somebody who understands business, who's going to cut regulations, who's going to cut taxes. It means that instantaneously the possibilities of economic growth skyrocket overnight. That's what the stock market's reflecting right now.
You know, Hillary, CNN has been trying to spin a lot of ridiculous narratives, one of which is that Biden's track record shows that Democrats are actually a Democrat in office is better. So what do you think about this? Compare how the economy was under Trump to how it was under Joe Biden. And obviously the answer is clear why voters, 75 million of them, said we don't want another 4 years of this.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Liddy. Actually, what it reminds me of is, I think it was back in 1961, William F. Buckley Jr. said that he would trust the first 200 people in the Boston phone book rather than the Harvard administration to govern this nation, Harvard professors, excuse me, to govern this nation. And what he was saying basically, of course, is the average person has a lot more sense than all these elites. And he said that back in the 60s. And I think that's what CNN, and actually it seems the entire Democratic Party, is too out of touch with the actual concerns of America. And right before me, you had on Sebastian Gorka, and obviously with his English accent, I'm from England. I'm a legal immigrant. I can relate to every single Hispanic who's come to this country legally and every other immigrant that came legally. And by the way, your ancestors and everybody's ancestors that came to this country, we all went through the process. And I don't think the elites seem to realize that people that go through the process and do things properly not only resent those that haven't, but your average American and your working class poor American doesn't want to be see handouts given to those people and doesn't want to see other people given things that they were never given. That was something that I think the elites were too out of touch with.
Absolutely, in their own little bubble world. And meanwhile, people are borrowing against their 401ks to make ends meet, and their cars are getting repossessed and homes are being foreclosed on. President-elect Trump, Richard, also making a big push on tariffs. And of course, the left is trying to demonize it, saying it's going to raise taxes. And already one company is responding to Trump, what he's saying. Fashion company Steve Madden is cutting at least 40% of its production out of China. Do you think other companies will follow suit?
Well, when the left tells you that they found a tax they don't like, you should be very suspicious about the talking points. I think the thing here that a lot of people don't talk about in the news on this is that the way our tax code works right now, it actually subsidizes foreign production that comes in, and it double taxes domestic production that is exported out. So the truth is, when the left is talking about it shimmying around prices, what they're really ignoring here is that prices on foreign inputs are subsidized by you at the expense of the middle class. So what Trump is really talking about with tariff policy here is getting back to neutrality, where we're not taxing Americans to subsidize foreign production, and we're not double taxing American production. It's as simple as that.
As simple as that. We have to leave it right there. Richard and Hillary, thank you both so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.